the Basic Golf Podcast. I have someone in another Commonwealth on the phone with me on Zoom, whatever we're calling this. Tung Solway. Welcome
Guess
back.
who's back? Back again. Guess who's back?
It's been a
Tell
while.
a friend. It has been. Did you go back and figure out when the last time we were on the horn?
I think it was last March. I didn't go back specifically, but when I looked,
It's a really long time.
When I looked at my it's a year. It's been more than a year. You were a regular on post COVID while we were getting you started in golf.
Hot in golf.
Yep, you were obsessed.
We were so hot and heavy.
I made a trip down in 22 and we played some golf together. We played golf in Vermont in 22 together. And that was the last time we played golf.
That was a big summer.
Yeah, that was a great summer. That was when you were like in the height of it.
That's when the relationship was so good.
Yeah, it was with golf. Yeah, it was great. And our friendship was probably at its highest point
we
too.
We were seeing each other a lot. Slipping. I'm talking about golf. You talking about us? I was talking about golf.
Both things.
Both.
But you were on a bunch, and we kind of worked through a bunch of milestones, and
so many good ones.
You passed a couple of exams. I wrote some exams for you, and to get you through Golf 101, Golf 201.
Yards, not feet.
Yards, right? We were at a point with you where you weren't sure if holes were measured in feet or yards. You've come such a long way.
There's evidence. There's evidence of that knowledge.
Yeah, that was I think that's the thing I appreciate about you most. You just like you're happy to be completely open and just ask, like, I don't know, and you know what, I don't care, I'm gonna ask this question and I'm gonna get an answer.
I need to know.
That's it. Or you just been looking at scorecards thinking this looks longer than 400 feet, guys. I'm not quite sure about this. But I wanted to have you back on today because last week I did a podcast that just covered, like, here are 9 golf courses that are great to bring beginners to in Massachusetts. And I don't have a lot of people in my life who started golf and
thinking it was in feet
and like stuck with it. Got, you improved, like your learning curve was pretty steep.
I'm a slightly intense human being.
Yeah, you get right. We've talked about that. You get
all in.
You get dialed in, locked in. You're like an Arsenal fan now, and texting me on Saturday mornings about Arsenal.
A lot of soccer in this house right now. A
lot of English soccer. Easier to consume and partake in than golf sometimes when you've got a family of 2. But I thought it would be this time of year you'd be a good person to have on just to talk about the things you learned about getting into the game, things that you wish you may have done differently, things that worked. Man, we talked about
things that I love,
things that you love about golf, things
I love about golf.
So I sent you a topic because this is the only topic, and just had a couple like quick little things, and that's basically it.
Can't wait.
So let's go back. When did you? I mean, you started in like 2021, right? You started playing golf 3 years ago.
Well, let's back up. Our relationship, around golf goes back much further. So
that's
where I'm going.
You're going back to post work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's rewind back to 2009, when I'm getting ready to leave Boston to move to Baltimore for work.
Yeah, we were both 10. 2009, right? It's about just to get the ages right here.
It was very young, but we started golfing at Fresh Pond.
Yes.
And it was just to hang out. We golfed with people we worked with. It was spring. It was gorgeous. And we were like, hey, why not? So it was like both Pats.
Yep.
You and me. I remember we went out a few times. Pat gave me his old golf bag. I don't remember whose clubs I used. I borrowed someone's clubs.
I think you borrowed some of my clubs.
Yeah, maybe yours.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I'm going to golf when I move to Baltimore. and I said, "What kind of club should I buy?" And you told me to buy. Do you remember what you told me? Adam's idea. It was like
Okay. I wasn't sure if I told you that or if those are the
Adam's
ones you
golf. Oh,
bought.
you did. No, it
Yeah.
was those, and you basically, I don't remember the shaft, but it was steel because you wanted me to have a heavier club. I don't remember why, but there was a rationale behind it at the time.
Okay. I don't
I
know
don't
what that
remember
rationale was.
why.
Whatever that was
I don't
wrong.
either.
That was as wrong as
It-
feet.
and then you gave me your sandwich, your old
Yep.
Voki sandwich.
Yep.
So that was my bag, and then I never touched the clubs in Baltimore.
Yep. So you just right. So you go all this time, no golf. You moved.
Never played with
You've
them.
got a all-consuming job, and you again. You moved to a place where you didn't know anyone who played golf, so you had no reason to go and
Hmm.
play either, which is part of the entry
So
point of
those
this
were the
game in
first,
the first
yeah,
place.
those were the first clubs.
Yeah. So then COVID hits, and you a lot of people started to dabble in the game of golf,
Yes,
and
with
then
with my
you
son.
with your son, right, who started first tee,
Yes. So
right?
he and
So
I
he had
started putzing around, and I was like, "This is really fun." And then, do you remember when I called you from Dick's, or maybe
yes,
I just texted you?
yes, there were a lot of texts from Dick's.
So we had just went out and played this tiny little. They called it like a discovery course. It's a 3-hole, I think like a 50-yard, a 75-yard, and like a 30-yard. It's a triangle,
Yep.
and they encourage people to start here if you've never really played, because you can like hit from a tee box, you can chip, you can putt, and it's in a little triangle, and you're probably not going to lose many balls, and you just keep going around as many times as you want.
Yep.
So my son and I did that, and we were like, "This is fun, this is awesome." And the next day, I went to Dick's and I bought myself a driver.
Yes. An
No
expensive driver.
research. It was like $350. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was expensive considering I didn't own any golf balls. I didn't know if I was really good at golf. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden I just went and bought a $350 driver.
Yeah. You're a manufacturer's dream,
Yeah.
is what you were, right? I mean, just like the
or a 25-year-old salesman's dream.
yeah, right. So so that beginner course or the discovery course, I wish there were more of those. First off, that
Loved it.
sounds like the perfect way to learn how to play. You got a 3-hole, 6-hole, 9-hole like ripcord where you can
Yep.
just play as much as you want. Your son was playing with you. I mean,
It was
what
awesome.
you could take 15 minutes to play 3 holes
Well,
like that.
the best part about it is if you got tired, you were never far. Like you
Yeah,
didn't
right.
commit to like going, 3,000 feet away from the clubhouse.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
we didn't have to finish anything. We were just like, when he was done, because it was hot, we played for like an hour. We were just like, okay, we're done, and we went and got a
yeah,
snack in the clubhouse, and we left.
yeah, yeah.
It was
That's a
really cool.
great. Yeah, that's a great. I wish there were more of those in and as a first tee, your son got to play. He played like once a week. Is that a weekend, right? Just the
Yeah,
first tee
he
lessons and
had, yeah, he had like one or twice a week. I can't remember because the programs are different. Before the competitions he did, but yeah, he just kind of did like a weekly program, bunch of kids, and they just played games and just kept it really fun. But
yeah,
that's kind of the thing that got him hooked.
right. And is he still playing a little bit?
No, he actually asked me the other day, can we go out and play? We haven't played in
Okay.
a long time. And he's only wanted to play if friends are involved now. He
Yeah.
kind of moved past the like, oh, this is fun, I'll go with dad, to the I want to be with friends and
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. Okay. Does that hurt your feelings a little bit?
Oh, my
Is that
feelings
like
are
a
always hurt as a my feelings are always hurt as a parent. It's just the most recent
it's
thing.
just perpetual
Yeah,
perpetual
parenting is the Latin
pain.
root word for disappointment and struggle. It's just the
Okay.
latest iteration. He's
So,
also a man. He's also a Man City fan. So yes, this is just everything
yeah, kick
about
him out of the house. Just kick
everything
him out of
about
the
our
house.
relationship is just uh, adversarial in the most cute and loving way.
Yeah, I worry about this fandom in your house as far as
Oh, I
you
failed.
both just
I
choosing.
failed as a father.
are still in Man City. Can't even pick like a mid-table team when you start this whole
No,
thing.
it's
No.
the only time I've ever had a chance to choose a team.
Okay, that's fair.
I've never chosen a team.
Yeah, they always choose you.
Arsenal found me.
And there you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, beginner golfer. What is something that you would, if you could go back and do differently at the kind of at the start? Is there anything that you would have done differently, or what are the things that you did that you think like I did this properly?
So the I love that question. The thing that I think I did well is I surrounded myself with people who loved the game and would talk about it all the time. So
Yep.
I've got a handful of coworkers who love golf. Obviously, you um, and my father-in-law. I've talked about him in the past. He's a golf nut. I think I surrounded myself with people who love golf, and anyone who loves golf loves to share about golf with new
Yes.
people or talk about golf with anyone who's willing to talk about golf. Like the common denominator of actually common denominators about all the conversation points with people who golf is like infinite, right? You can
Yeah.
talk about places you golf. You can always talk about like what you're working on. People start humble bragging. You got the logo game of shirts and hats.
Yeah.
You've got all the little phrases and expressions people start to use, like like the golf
Equipment.
conversation. Oh, it's remarkable. Like
Yeah.
the bad jokes about how bad people are, or like
Yep.
nicknames and bets, and oh, remember that time. There's always a story about weather and animals and like there's always stuff like people who love golf love to talk about golf, and I think really do love to see new people interested in playing.
Yeah. Yeah,
And and and,
that's a
and
great
maybe
one.
you've been in the golf orbit for a very long time, and obviously you work in golf, so maybe it's not as
Right.
like novel to you, but I found that to be one of the best parts about learning golf for the first time.
Well, I had the same experience. It was just years before you had it. The reason that I kind of stuck with the game is because at different moments in my learning how to play, I was doing the same thing where I had like your son, I had friends who also loved to play. So I
Yeah,
like there were times I'd go play by myself, but I typically had like buddies to play with
yeah,
or my dad to play with. I was learning with my dad, um, who's like ultra competitive and just wanted to get better. And then I had middle school friends and I played high school golf. So I always had the same kind of
yeah.
thing where you're with other people and you're learning alongside them and you're shooting the shit about whatever golf is going on. I mean, when I was middle school and high school, like Tiger Wood, you could just talk about Tiger Woods. So it was just, you could watch Tiger Woods clips. You could talk about the new club you got or the clubs you want. And it was like East Bay, right? We talked about East Bay magazine before, just like sneakers and gear. It's the same in golf. It is
It's just
remarkable how
endless.
easy
It's
it is. Yeah.
endless. hmm
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about golf for an hour and not feel bored or awkward or repetitive. It really is just it's a great, great kind of like easy thing to talk about with someone who loves golf. So
Yeah.
I'd say I did that right. And I ask a lot of questions when I learn. And so I like to surround myself with people who really know it and can talk about it like eloquently and authentically. Um, and that kind of drives my own curiosity. So I really, really love talking to people about it. I think I did that really well.
Yeah. What questions did you ask? Do you remember I mean, feet and
Everything.
yards, but
I found myself not talking about swing technique ever.
yep.
Because I mean, like many other golfers, I guess, I can be a head case and I start thinking about something. And I think that's this, like, I realized early on that, like, it was actually, I'm blanking on the podcast, the British guy and the American guy.
John
Um,
Sherman and yeah,
yeah, what was it, Sweet Spot?
practical golf, sweet spot.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Sweet Spot, right?
It's
I
practical golf.
remember,
Yeah.
yeah, one of their episodes I listened to early when I was trying to learn the game, they talked a lot about internal and external thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they were talking about how a lot of golfers get fixated on internal thoughts around like swing mechanics and that it just messes with you. And they talked a lot about external thoughts like just brush the ground with your club or aim your belt towards your target. Just like simple things that you can actually feel and see
Yeah, or just focusing on the target.
outside of your mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
outside of your
just like
mind.
you're just trying to hit the ball there.
But I loved strategy. Like, what am I doing here? What are you looking for? What are you aiming at? Like, how do you um I remember one of the first times I was putting with someone who really knew what they were saying, and they were trying to help give me a read. They said, "Do you want your putt to die at the hole, or do you want to hit it past it?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't know. What should I do?" But it's things like that that I really liked
Yep,
around understanding the game, as opposed to like, "Hey, what should my wrist angle be?" or "What's my right shoulder?" I never asked those questions. So everything
yeah,
was around course management,
yep,
etiquette. I talked a lot about etiquette with people because I knew if I couldn't play well, I wanted to play fast and not get in people's way and not be a reason why people didn't want to play with me despite a big score.
right. And that becomes stressful for
Yeah, it's another thing to
you.
think about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When we played in Maine at the Ledges, the thing that I think everyone could learn from you just getting around that golf course, which had like weird force.
It was hard.
That course was
You know,
hard
a lot
for
of rock
someone who'd been
rock
playing.
walls.
Yeah, and like your couple holes you got to carry over things, a couple long par threes. One of the pace of play things that I think just creeps into golf everywhere, and I've been thinking about pace of play a lot, is the people who are like 200 yards away and they think that they can hit the green. And you were very much like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the ball somewhere up near the green. I have no problem hitting it 150 yards from here and just trying to take 3 shots from that point. And I'm like just
Well,
that
here's
like
my question to you.
simplicity, you made the game a little bit more simple and you had a realistic expectation of just
So,
how to get the ball
yeah,
around.
so here's a good question for you. So you and I talked earlier about bogey golf, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take an extra shot. Like there's no way that someone like me who's brand new to golf is gonna reach the green in the same number of swings as you. I
sure.
can't hit it as far and I can't hit it straight. So like that's just insane. I I would say that my entire athletic career, even though I ran track in college, was predicated on the fact that like I knew I was never as good as most other people and I had to work my tail off. But do you think someone who like was a really gifted athlete in baseball or basketball or football and just has a ton of natural ability, they hit their 5 iron 100 and 80 yards once and they think that's my number.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like if I hit my 5 iron 150, 160 once, that means I'm only hitting it when I'm like 135, 140.
Yeah.
Like I go the opposite route. But do
Yeah.
you think that that's a difference for people who are new at golf is like their previous athletic experience of like what they quote unquote used to be able to do?
Yeah, I guess. Or it's just the the game makes you think that the best you're always hoping for the best outcome. Like golf just kind of for beginners because other sports, I think you're more successful in other sports more often than you are in golf. Like if you go play golf and you take 100 shots, not a lot of those are going to be like in the center of the club face, hit exactly as far as you want or farther than you think. Whereas like
Hmm.
if you're playing basketball and you played a 5 straight pickup games and took 100 shots, first off, that's too many shots. But like you're gonna make a lot of shots. And if you don't, like the feedback is so direct
But you know what the
that you're
difference
gonna
is?
stop shooting.
You know what the difference is? I have a choice to stop shooting in basketball.
You have to keep hitting. You have to keep hitting golf shots. That's a great point.
It's the worst thing because even in like individual sports like tennis or track, like, and maybe tennis is a little bit different because you're still reacting, but like, there's no choice when you and I've talked about this, like hitting the ball 250 yards, duck hook right into the woods where
Yeah.
you got to go find your ball, and
Mm-hmm.
all your buddies are walking straight 300
Mm-hmm.
yards to the middle of the fairway. That does not come easy to what you do next.
For sure. Yeah.
And
It's
so,
it.
like, there's no choice. You have to keep playing.
Yeah.
And, like, the compounding factor of bad decisions on top of bad decisions is remarkable. Like it's so easy to be so stupid when you are new at golf because you think, as you said, the outcome is going to be better than it is. But like, I think the handicap system is really flawed for new people because they think a certain thing. Like it, there's so if you don't know enough about golf, it's so easy to get in trouble.
Yeah. And if you know too much, it's easy to get in trouble.
Yeah,
There's this
happy
weird
medium.
happy medium where you just have to be realistic. Whatever your level is, you just have to have. And I think that's what I liked about playing with you as a new person to the game is like there was never this expectation. And I think a lot of beginners just have it because they've hit like, you know, they hit one good shot and suddenly like that's their new marker for how far they hit their 5-iron or how far they hit their
Yeah,
driver or whatever instead of
or
like,
or
oh, I
what the
did that
shot
one
shape
time.
should look like, or what the shot shape should look like, or like I've played with new people who are like, I'm gonna hit a draw here, and I'm like, I don't think you know how to do that, but all right.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
stuff like that. Like I also think watching PGA as as a beginner is a terrible thing because I mean we've talked about this. Like
Yeah.
they're cutting to perfect shots on the world's to the world's best golfers. Like it's fun to get excited about golf, but you should not watch golf on TV if you think, oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna learn that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that.
Yeah. I mean, people don't watch
So
Steph
that
Curry
yeah,
and then think like I'm going to run around and hit
some
a
people
crazy
do.
amount of threes. Some
Some
people
people
do.
middle
That's true.
middle
That's middle
school
school
basketball
boys
players do.
do. That's true. That's very true. I
The
remember. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought I was going to answer the flip side of that, which is what would I have done differently?
Yeah.
I think if you are going to start golfing and you have any significant partner in your life, I think you should have a very realistic conversation of, I'm about to go spend hours upon hours playing and fixating on golf, and I'm probably going to spend a lot more money than you think. And I'm probably going to spend money that I'm not even going to tell you about on top of a lot of money that you think I'm already spending.
I'm going to be honest with you about a chunk of the money, but there's another chunk that I'm hoping you never find out about.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Curbside pickup is a very dangerous thing for Golf Galaxy.
so this is I mean, I remember
I also
texting with you.
I do have a Ping 425 hybrid if anyone wants to buy it. It's pretty good shape. Send John a message and he'll get it to me, but it's in great shape. It's a 3 hybrid, I believe. What is that? I don't 17 degrees maybe. It's really great. Got the original head cover. It's original grip. It's in great shape. Just let Sean know.
I think Tung's got an anniversary coming up. He needs some money for a present. I think this is a really interesting thing about getting into golf as someone who is already in a relationship. I think the whole dynamics are so different. Whereas if you golfed like your whole life or it was just an
Yeah,
expectation, when you started dating
it's
someone like,
demanded
hey,
into you. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going and I'm gonna play golf like once or twice a week or at whatever. I mean, she didn't know I was gonna do this, so God bless her. But I think that is a super
Huge,
important.
huge
It's
factor
really hard. I mean, you started playing golf with
at
a
a
wife and
terrible
2
time.
kids under 5, right? I mean,
Uh,
6?
yeah, they were like 6 and 9 ish.
Okay. So
Yeah,
2
something like
kids under
that.
9. Yeah, okay.
Still, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man, I feel bad. I didn't realize your son is that old now. That's crazy. Okay. No wonder he doesn't want to play
So
golf with dad anymore. Now that makes
yeah,
more sense. I get it.
correct.
Yeah.
He's a middle schooler. So
But it is a
I,
fast if you don't have that if you don't have that line already
it's
drawn
real.
when you start dating somebody, it is a really hard one to redraw.
And I would say honestly, and this is everyone's family dynamics are different. If you are one in which your partner presumes you will actually be useful and productive in your family unit, I think the advice I would give is find ways to scratch the itch without always going to spend 6 hours on a course.
Yeah.
Like I bought an indoor putting mat. That was awesome. I had a
Yep.
hitting mat. I had a hitting net, right? The Trin
Yep.
Golf Lab was like in full effect. Um,
Yep.
that you got to hit in.
I did.
But like watching golf, honestly, just even if you know you're gonna play in 2 weeks, like I would scout courses. Like I would go based on your advice. I downloaded, the Grint, and you can literally do satellite views of holes from your tee box, and you could start thinking about like, okay, this is a 350 yard, not feet, par four, dog leg
Yep.
right. I may not hit my driver here, even though it's a par
Yep.
four. So like, there's just a lot you can do around golf that doesn't have to be, I'm going to go be on the course for 6 hours.
Yep. You also have a great spot close to your house that's a 6-hole short
Driving
course.
range,
You got a driving
6 hole
range.
short
You've got
course. Yep.
Belmont, which
Yep.
is also kind of
Friends who
nice. But
belong
yeah,
to
that's a hard.
clubs.
Yeah, because that's the public golf on the weekends is
It's brutal. Brutal. That's
it's
six and a half
brutal
hours right
everywhere.
there.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's more expensive. That's the bummer. It's more expensive and takes longer than walking with friends on a private course.
Yeah. Yep. That's what people pay for.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean, can we talk about your first tee? How did you get over your first tee
Oh, it's
jitters? You
terrible.
you
Remember
you wanted to
to
just
skip the
skip the
first
first tee.
hole. That's
You
right.
just wanted
I
to
would have
walk
taken a
to the second hole
I would have taken a
or
double
take a cart.
par. I would have taken
Yeah.
a double par so no one had to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a big deal, and that's a thing I think every
It still sucks.
beginner golfer deals with, and some golfers who have played for years deal with on the first tee. Or if anyone shows up and is just wandering around the first tee box, like they freeze up. So for you, or maybe you're not over it. I know you're not playing a lot of golf right now, but like at some point you were hitting tee shots off of a first hole
Yes,
and doing it
pretty much
fine.
every time. Yeah.
And every time you
I
were not skipping the first hole and taking an 8.
No. No. I realized I realized two things. And I think one part of the realization was a conversation with you. And that was no one is thinking about your drive right now. Everyone is thinking about their own stuff, right? And
Yeah.
that's a good lesson in life. Like people are worried about what other people may think of them. They've got their own stuff. Like if you hit a shot that is a bad slice, the only thing they're thinking is, "Oh gosh, I hope I don't do that." Not, "Wow, Tung is terrible at golf. Why is he here?"
Yeah.
The only thing they're thinking is, "Oh gosh, that I just saw that. What is it going to do to me?"
Yeah. And then it's
But
gone.
there's no passing judgment. There's no passing judgment. At least not the people I play with. I play
Yeah.
with normal, good human beings. The other piece that I realize is I still look athletic when I'm playing golf, and so if I take a bad swing or the ball doesn't go far, I don't think people are like, that is a weird looking swing. No wonder, sliced
Yeah.
300 yards to the right. It doesn't look terrible. It's good enough. Um, and I realized like that kind of helped make me feel a little less bad about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. No one
Plus,
cares.
plus people who are pretty good at golf still have those shots.
Yeah. Everyone does. That's the other thing you realize
Yeah,
as you play. You see
it's hard to be
everyone
good.
hit.
It's hard to be good.
Do you remember when we were in Vermont? Let's talk about bad shots. We were playing that second 18 at Queechee, and I hit a topped 7-iron, like someone zapped me.
Yes.
And I was like cruising along, and I just hit this. I topped a 7-iron and went right, like I had to carry water, and it just skipped across the water. And you all looked at me like, what the hell
Where'd that
was
come
that?
from?
Like everyone hits crappy shots. Do you remember any bad? Like, what are some of the worst shots you've hit? I don't want to hear about the
It's
good
too
ones.
many. I don't too many. I mean, I don't know. Like, 40% of my round.
No, like no shots that were
I don't
terrible.
think I don't think I have. Well, I've almost hit people. I mean,
Yeah,
those is this that's not funny, but it is funny
it
because
does.
no one
It's
got
not have to
hurt.
be funny. They're just bad
But
shots.
like like
They'll be funny later.
I I've had a couple of punch shots ricochet off the tree and almost
Yep.
kill me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so those are funny. Definitely the like. Should I say something to my friend who's 50 yards up, way to the right? Probably not. I think I'm safe. And that's all I can think about is like, friend 50 yards hard right. And it's like the ball just has a magnetic pull to friend 50 yards to the right. And I just scream the person's name and watch them cower and
Yep.
think, sorry. So
Instead of just
those
simply
are
being like, hey, Sean, just watch out. This one might hit you because you think like
that
that sounds like a ridiculous thing to do before you hit a shot, but that's probably better than ignoring it and then just thinking about it.
my yeah, I think the expression I've come to say is something like, "Hey Sean, heads up, I'm hitting."
Yeah.
Just to be aware.
Yep.
Situational awareness. Never
Yeah.
hurt anyone.
Yep.
No, I don't think I have any like I don't think I have like memorable terrible shots, but I've had
Okay.
a lot of dangerous shots. A
Yeah.
lot of dangerous shots.
um, we talked a lot about lessons
Yeah,
when you were starting. I encourage you to get lessons. You just continue to buy
it's
golf
great.
clubs.
I
And
also
then
have a
you
Rogue driver. If anyone is interested, it's the second generation. It's in good shape. It's in good shape. I did get 3 lessons. Remember?
yeah. Yeah. So would you I think you kind of not regretted, but you realized after you got them, it might have been better to get those a little earlier
Sooner. Yeah, sooner.
sooner when you started.
I was undoing stuff.
Right. So you would, if people had the time,
Yeah.
lessons are not cheap, but you can find lessons for, I mean, you don't have to
Cheaper
go
than around.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cheaper than around.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
so
less time.
I
You get an
found
hour and
yeah, well, so what I did was when my son was at first tee during his weekly program, I had a lesson with a pro. So I instead of just like paying 15 or 20 bucks to hit 2 buckets of balls for an hour and a half while he was playing,
yeah,
I paid 65 bucks for a 40-minute lesson. And then when you do your lesson, he just gives you a coupon if you want to get a bucket of balls and practice. So like it was it was stupid not to do it earlier. I should have done it earlier.
yeah,
My first lesson was just a general lesson around swing mechanics. So, he watched me, he recorded me, and he talked about like, hey, here are 2 things that I really think we want to work on that could make a difference to minimize bad shots. It wasn't like a lesson of let's teach you how to drive a ball 300 yards or let's teach you
right,
to have like finesse around the greens. It was let's just avoid bad shots as much as possible with these things. So it was like 2 things, 2 drills. That was it. My second lesson was off the tee. I was struggling to keep the ball in play. So second lesson was just driver. And it was actually all about body position, and less about grip and angle and all those things. It really was just like big muscle stuff, which
yeah,
he just felt like I was going to be better able to control as kind of a somewhat former athletic human being. And then my third lesson was around the green. That was probably my favorite,
yeah. Those are so much
because
fun.
man, it's just I don't know. Like I mean, obviously hitting a driver far is super gratifying, but my strokes because he asked me to start keeping track of chips and putts, which obviously where this is going, which is the strokes just added up like
Yeah,
crazy around the green. And so we just had like
yeah,
actual data to work with. And so he would ask like, what chip shot, like how far out were you? And because of my app on the phone, I had all that information. And so
yeah,
we started just chipping away at the 50-yard mark, chipped away at lag putting, which was just killing me because I was just leaving the ball so short every time. So those are the three. I wish I had more early, but it was fun to have something to work towards that wasn't like a buddy telling me to do something that was probably not helpful.
Yeah, right. Or having multiple buddies give you a bunch.
Unsolicited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, lessons are intimidating because suddenly you have someone who's judging you on this thing that you already don't know how to do. And I think
Hmm.
that's uncomfortable for people at the start of anything where you just think like I guess I can figure this part of the game out before I find help. Um, but then like you said, you have to undo stuff and it becomes harder. Chipping and putting, I mean, keeping the ball in play is I think like numero uno for making people feel like they can come back and play again.
Yeah.
Like if you can't get off the tee, and you struggled with this a little bit,
I
it
did.
is not a fun
No,
game to play.
because the feeling of like, let's say you get a double bogey, but you were in play the entire time, and maybe you missed the edge of the green on a chip, and you lipped out, or you're 3 inches to the last, like, putting it out. You walk away feeling okay that double bogey could have been a bogey, or could have even been a par. But if you're zigzagging to a double par to save a double par,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
it
fun.
just
You're digging through the
you just
woods.
like, that's when the scores just don't tell the full story of like the story of the whole.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I think keeping it in play and not scrambling all the time is just the only way to keep it somewhat fun. I think playing from the right tee box, um,
100%.
is really like your buddies who golf want to hit from the blues, um, and I just was like, I'm not going to hit from the blues,
Yeah.
and just being okay with that,
Right. Right. And
or
you know what?
finding people who are
Everyone
okay
is
playing from there.
everyone's going to have more fun if I play from the proper tee box than if I'm playing and spend
Yeah,
like 6 extra minutes with you during the round because we're all in the same tee box every hole.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's we're gonna have more fun. I'm gonna have more fun, and you guys are gonna have more fun because you're not helping me look for golf balls in the woods or.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, so what was your math for finding a tee box as like.
I realized that I could play like when I was playing well enough where I was shooting, like when I was breaking 100, because there was
Yeah,
a stretch where like I was starting to break 100
yeah,
regularly. I
I
mean,
want to talk about
I
that.
don't
Yeah,
I don't think I was close to breaking 90, but I felt good about like I had a shot at breaking 100 often.
yep,
Um, I would say 6,000 yards was going to be a stretch, but I would do it.
yep,
5,800 was like 57, 5,800 were like sweet spots where I could reach the green most likely when I
yep,
should have been able to reach the green.
yeah,
So for folks who are new, I was driving the ball probably like 220, 230. At that point, my 7 iron was kind of my trusty 135, 140 club. I could hit a 6 iron, 150, 155 comfortably.
yep,
But once I got to a 5 iron or a hybrid, I really struggled to hit the distance. So I would just lay up um, in those cases. But that 5,700 was giving me a chance at reaching the green for a par.
yeah, yeah. That's a good. That's a. It's it's good to know those numbers, and it's good to just stick to them because a lot of people just get browbeat into playing from way
Well,
back.
it's also just like I probably only used like 7 or 8 clubs in my bag regularly,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a big thing I kept too. Is like I'd rather hit 7 or 8 clubs well and reliably than like think I'm gonna pull out a 4 iron because I think that's the distance.
Yeah.
I had one wedge, remember? I had
Yep.
so
That's
there were just things like that that just simplified the game a little bit.
yeah. That's become my advice to people who are starting is you probably only need 5 golf clubs when you're starting out. You need something to hit off a tee so reliably, maybe that's a driver or whatever. You need like some sort of sandwich to get the ball up in the air, like a short iron and a mid iron, and you probably don't need a long iron because they're really hard to hit.
No,
Maybe you can get a
not yet.
high yeah, it's crazy. And then and you start like getting to points on the golf course where you're like, "Oh, I think I'm good enough now that I need this new thing." to hit a little
Hmm.
farther, or I need a club to get it up and over a bunker, or
Like a
I
ping
need a club to get
425 3
out.
hybrid.
Exactly. Those are great out of the bunkers, I've heard too. So if anyone's looking for one of those trusty hybrid wedges that Ping makes, Tung's got one. If he hadn't mentioned it yet, breaking 100. You said I remember on this podcast in like
Yeah.
the spring of one of the years we were doing it. You said I'm going to break 100 this year, and I thought you were jumping the gun a little bit. And then like 2 weeks later, you did it. And I remember
I
you
knew I
said I
was
did on
close.
a par 70. Does that count? It's like absolutely that
Yeah.
counts.
Par 71. I think it was a par 71.
71. Yeah.
I think
So
it was that. Yeah, it was
broke
at
100.
Providence.
And then you got to the point, where, like you said, you were reliably breaking 100.
Or at least had a chance. A
Yeah,
lot of
you felt like when
101s,
you played
102s. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'd say that's a better description. I gave myself a chance
Yeah, but you
before I screwed it up. Yeah,
because 18 holes is long. It's a long
it's a
long
lot
day
of
out
golf.
there. It's a
It's a
lot of
lot of
golf.
golf.
Would you say that like the chipping and the putting is what got you under 100?
Confidence.
Just confidence and just
I
understanding.
really. Yeah, I mean, no, it was all of it. Like you have to keep the ball in play off the
Yep.
tee, and you got to finish the hole. And so, I do think some of the lessons learned were again right distance, shortening the list of the clubs I was using, keeping the ball in play as much as possible. Like I'd be interested to go back and find that scorecard. Like no birdies that hole, maybe one. No, probably no birdies. No birdies.
Yeah, just like if you're
Pars,
breaking 100,
bogeys, double
pars or
bogeys.
birdies. Yeah, pars or
Yeah,
birdies when you're just trying to break
yeah.
100. Yeah.
Pars, bogeys, primarily limited the doubles. Like I don't think I had a triple that day, and that it's the quads and the triples that just add up if you've got 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah, because then you're playing 22 holes. I always
Yeah,
think about it that way. As soon as you make
yeah.
if you make like a 7 on a hole, you're just
Just
adding.
added
It's
a
like
hole.
I just played a new par. I just played a par 3. I just added a
Yeah.
par 3 to my score.
So I think I also knew the course pretty well. It's a public course that I played a lot, and so that was
Yeah.
huge. Like knowing, because at the time my ball flight off the tee was a hard left, and then would kind of fly it. Um,
Call that a
controlled
power fade.
slice, controlled slice. But like there's 2 holes on that course that just do not work for that flight, and
Because there's
so
trees or there's just
there's
like stuff
trees
off the tee. Yeah.
all on the left side, and so it was like I remember that day. My buddy's like, "Are you gonna tee? Are you gonna hit your driver? Because I can't reach the green otherwise." I was like, "No." I took a hybrid and I punched the ball 160, 175 yards, and I got a bogey, and that was fine because I didn't
Yep.
lose the ball and have a drop.
Yep. Yeah.
So I do think knowing the course helps as well, and not going with other people who know the course because what they say just doesn't necessarily fit you, but like you need to know the course.
Yeah. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
why,
And what
yeah,
usually
yeah,
when you play with people, this drives me nuts. When you play with people who know a golf course and they tell you where not to go
yeah.
is one
The
of my
worst thing to
like
say
you
to
don't want
someone.
to go right. Yeah, don't go right or don't miss left or like just can you tell me where to hit it? I don't need to know where
Or I
not to
love,
hit it.
well, see, that's what's funny is like people are like, see that tree right there, the third pine tree to the left, that's your target. I'm like, that's
I need a bigger
that's
target.
that's don't tell me a target. Like I just need to know where the hole is. Like where am I eventually getting to? Like
Oh,
so I
interesting.
would
Yeah.
so I think people who should also be listening to this are people who are going to be playing with new people
Mm-hmm.
because really
Yeah.
like what you should expect. Don't play from the tee box that you always play at. Don't tell people which tree to hit it at. Like
Yeah.
stop telling them, it's 3 cups to the left, right here, right here. Like no, just like have fun. Don't give them advice, but like I think listening to this, if you're gonna be like if you're a partner or a good friend and you're going with someone new, like I think this is a great podcast to listen to. So
Yeah.
here's a question for you.
Yep.
The way I found my driver, which is the Ping 425, like max, love it, like super forgiving. And I found that driver because I played with my wife's uncle a number of
Yep.
times, and he was super great. He just saw me hitting these slices, like, "Hey, try my driver, try my driver." I was hitting the crap out of the thing straight, and I was like, "This is it," because I played like probably the 18 holes over the course of 2 rounds with that driver.
Yeah, I
How do
remember
you
this.
feel as how do you feel if someone was like, "Hey, Sean, can I try your driver?"
Oh, I people have asked me that. It's fine.
And
It
really,
doesn't. Yeah, I play in a scramble every in November the last 2 years, and you're only allowed 4 clubs. Every person in the group brings 1 club to the party, but then everyone shares that club. So you got a
yeah, but
driver in the group.
that's like friends and the format is known. I'm talking if you were walking with someone who's a hacker and they're like, "Oh man, maybe my driver's the issue, Sean, can I?" And you see them duff the ground with their driver,
Oh,
and you
duffing
just
the
be like,
ground would be fine.
"Yeah."
I would just maybe encourage them to tee it up low so they don't get. My fear is they tee it up so high that you get like the mark on the top of the club because the golf ball, like
Or off the
that would
toe,
be a real
off
thing,
the
or off the toe,
off
like somewhere on the
the, the,
crown of the
the
club that
toe leaves a mark as
leaves a
well.
horrible mark. But I don't know. I haven't really come across people who ask me who maybe ah, that I
Maybe
would
one.
feel like I would say no because I think the people who
It's got
know
to
I
be
would
one.
say no aren't going to ask. Um, but we use my driver for that. Like I didn't know all the guys in the group. They were friends of friends, and I brought it. And it
But
was
but they were
rainy and dirty, and
but they were good golfers.
yeah, they're all fine. But it was like a rainy, wet, gross day that definitely the chance of something slipping or
I think if you are golfing, if you are the golfer in the group and you're golfing with someone new, I think you should think about your response when someone says, "Can I borrow your putter? Can I borrow your driver?" Just be ready for that request. Because that found I will say that found my driver, and now my
yeah,
driver is like my favorite club.
yeah, which is like we said, an important
So
point.
important. But that's how I
Important
found my
point.
driver.
What other tips would you give? I like this little flip. People who have a new beginner in their life.
No
Uh,
advice. No advice.
limited advice.
Make it fun.
I like the play from the same tee. Sometimes you just have to like I would bring my wife to play this little 9-holer that's close to us, and I would just play from the red tees. Like
Who
I'm not trying to
cares?
shoot a
It's
score here.
golf.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
we're just
golf.
playing golf.
I really think people don't love walking. I think it's more complicated to take a cart with someone who's never played because
Agreed.
you hit a bad shot and you drive 15 seconds
Yep.
and now you got to park and the person's watching you from the cart, or you're taking 3 clubs
Yep.
and you don't know the distance, you don't even know where to go, and someone else is taking 2 clubs and now you're organizing, here, you take the cart, I'll walk from here, pick me up, you know, or can you get my putter? Like
Yep.
it's just a lot of negotiating, but it's just too fast. It's too
Yeah.
fast. And like being able to slow down and walk and think and talk and maybe getting some good little soft encouragement and not having this like vehicle that's following you.
Yeah.
Like who's ever
Yep.
liked a car following them? Like
Yeah.
no one. Like you've been taught from an early age, cars should not follow people. But for some reason on a golf course, it's fine.
It's normal. It's
So
completely normal.
get them a push cart if they need. But I do
Yeah.
think walking is a great way to just like slow the game down, calm yourself down. And I think that's really great if you're able to walk. I know not everyone is able to, but
Right. Yeah. I I was just reading something that pace of play for walkers is faster than golf carts. It's like just
yeah,
as a big study, if you're walking, you're on your own. Like you get to do your own thing. You're only worried about yourself. You're not
yeah.
waiting around. I mean, I see it when I play. Like you watch guys who are just hanging out in the cart while their buddies hit, and then
I
they
also
take
just when you're in the cart, you're probably drinking. You are on your phone
yeah,
all the time. Like there's just things that take away from like this is your one chance to just be outside, be with
yep,
friends, chase a little white ball around. Like obviously, like people have phones to keep scores or distances and see like yards. That's different than the like let me scroll because I'm waiting. I'm sitting in a cart. I
Yeah.
just think there's
Yeah.
something that just completely takes away from what the experience should be, which is like to
Yep.
get away from that for a few hours.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Walking,
Uh,
few tips or like,
bring way more balls than you think.
yeah. Yep. Especially if you're
Way more
playing. I
balls than
mean,
you think. I've
yeah.
lost 18 balls in a day before.
That's so many. I love how that's the piece of advice after
I know.
encouraging people to carry their own bag. Like, just throw 20 golf balls in your bag and hoof it around. It'll get lighter as the day goes because you're gonna lose them. Trust me. But you're gonna start with a
You know
heavy
what sucks?
bag.
You know what sucks? You know what sucks? When you pack like, let's say 12 balls or 10 balls, you're on the front nine, you've lost six. And you know
Yeah.
what? You're doing mental math and you're like, well, I've got 4 balls left in my bag before I have to ask Sean, hey, Sean, I'm out of golf balls. That is a
Yeah.
terrifying
That's like
admission
a
to
level
make.
below asking to use someone's driver. Is like, hey man, do you have an extra golf ball that I can use?
Like,
And the odds of
well,
me
have you
losing
ever
this
played,
one are pretty high.
especially if you are, again, if you are the golfer in the group, don't just stack your bags with Pro V1s.
Have a
Stop at the
couple.
store, get a couple of, maybe not nitros, but maybe get a couple pinnacles, right?
Yep.
That's like $1.50 a ball. Like, have
Yep.
a couple pinnacles in your bag for your buddy who's probably not bringing enough balls to the course.
I have started using the golf, like my old scuffed up golf balls. I have a little bag in my trunk, and I just, if I'm emptying out my bag, I'll throw them in there, and that's another great thing to just, then you can give those to the people. Like they're not in terrible shape, but they've like, if I've played with them for a round and a half, 2 rounds, I don't lose a lot of golf
It's
balls.
time to retire. Yeah.
Then you can retire them, but someone else would be grateful. The other thing I do is I always carry two in my pocket. So I'm the guy, if we're on a tee
Yeah.
box and someone hits the
Hit
ball in the
another.
woods and the bag and like all our bags are way away because we're walking back and like, oh, does anyone have a
Ooh,
ball? I'm like, I got one. Here's a ball for you.
here's good advice. Here's more good advice that helps people off the first tee. Tell everyone you get two off the first, and a lot of people like that's almost like standard practice with the people that I've played with. Two off the first.
Yeah. And usually the first one, when you have that understanding, is better than it would be if you're like, we're going to go. And this
Yeah.
is your only shot you get.
It also clarifies that part, which is like we're not taking two every time you have a bad shot. Like two off the first also is kind of the unwritten like this is your chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Start
And
now or
nothing
start.
and nothing feels better than when you hit a great first one and you're like, I'm good.
I'm good. Right. And I think that happens more when people have that in the back of their mind, like, I'll get a second chance at this. So it depends on the setting of the first tee too. You don't want to be like a group of 4 hitting 8 tee shots. Like it's the driving range. That's a tricky. You gotta read the room a little bit on that one. I would encourage people,
Obviously a busy public course, you're not doing that, but
or a fancy
fan
private one with the pro
fancy
shop
club
window
going.
right there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
make sure the member is well liked.
What about just like financially, what would be your succession of advice for, what you should buy for equipment to
Yep,
scaffold it so you're not instantly dropping
chasing.
$6,000 on clothes, accessories, clubs, balls, lessons, green fees.
Yeah, I mean, well, you need golf clubs in a bag first, right? So like you're already in the pot. But like I said, limiting the amount of clubs you purchase, you can find a place that has used golf clubs and go buy used golf clubs and like a
Or
stand
ask
bag.
someone,
Or
or ask
ask,
someone.
right? Or if you, like at the very beginning of
Tons
this,
of
when you
people have
said
old clubs.
I surrounded myself with people who love golf, those people have a garage full of golf clubs that have,
Especially
most of
putters.
them will have no bearing on like your ability if you're, unless they're playing with like crazy specific equipment. You can
Yeah.
play with somebody's old golf clubs.
Yep.
So that's a good point too. You could do a little scavenging, find some people. You could look on eBay. eBay has
Yeah.
tons of golf
Tons.
clubs for
That's where I
super
bought my
cheap.
clubs.
Yeah, really, really easy. Clothes. I've never really thought about clothes. You mentioned
I think.
clothes. I mean, you just
Well, I
need
feel like everyone wears technical fabric clothes now, but like
yeah. I
maybe it's
think
safer.
yeah, you need
I think that's a place you could just wait.
yeah, especially if you're playing public golf, they're pretty lenient these days on what you're wearing, and you just need a polo and khakis. I mean, I see most guys. I played with guys in jeans at this point. Totally uncomfortable. I like if you want to wear
I don't
jeans, you can wear
know.
jeans. It doesn't bother me if the place doesn't have a rule against it. Like you can wear jeans. I just think it's maniacal stuff just to
That's
wear
a
jeans. It's so
that's a
uncomfortable.
tough choice.
Yeah,
And
it's real
jeans
hard.
are just. I always love that like the casual Fridays. Like, oh, you can wear jeans. I'm like, I don't want to wear jeans ever.
Yeah,
Casual Fridays like joggers, not jeans.
yeah, yeah.
All
Golf
right.
balls. Just find cheap golf balls. I remember
Yeah.
you had we talked about golf balls for a few
Pinnacle,
podcasts because you were trying to figure out just buy.
Kirkland, and Pinnacles.
Yep. Also a great gift if you're a golfer and you got a birthday. That's such an easy thing to ask for, and it doesn't matter what they get you when you're a beginner.
Just happy,
Just get some golf balls.
grateful.
Yeah, just get some golf balls. Golf shoes. I don't think you need golf shoes. You can just wear sneakers to start. You have a different opinion
Yes,
on this.
I do. I do. I think there's something, and maybe it's because the sports I really love, track and basketball. You feel different when you put shoes on for those sports. It's the same thing of like cleats in soccer.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
you just feel different. Also, waterproof shoes, totally a must. So I actually think buying like you can get a good pair of golf shoes that are waterproof, spikeless, comfortable for under $100.
Yeah.
And you probably don't need to buy a new one for like a year or two
They
if you're
last
not
a long
golfing that
time.
regularly. They last.
Yep.
You're wearing them so infrequently. Plus, if you're walking, yeah, one could shoes on my feet.
Yeah. Hey,
So
VJ Singh made the cut in the Masters wearing Hokas this year, just as an argument going the other way. Guy was wearing Hokas.
Who's not wearing Hokas? If you're not wearing on, you're wearing Hoka. If you're not wearing Hoka, you're wearing on.
That's true. That's the same down in Virginia, because it's the truth up here.
It's the truth. All right, so I disagree there, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think you need golf shoes, but if you do have the mindset of I want to wear something that's built to play golf, like that would be the one accessory. Wear some jeans and some golf shoes and go have yourself a blast out there.
All right, so let's do this. You're gonna buy your first 2 clubs. So not talking about a set of irons. Let's say you've got a decent set of irons, and you're gonna buy 2 clubs. One, not at the same time. You're gonna buy 1 club, and you're gonna spend a little money on it, and then you're gonna buy a second club. What is yours first and second club? And then I'll share mine.
Okay, so I have my irons. I've got whatever irons I would need. I'm buying.
That's it, though.
So you're talking like fairway woods, wedges, putter is the life we're living here. Like top of the bag, bottom of the bag.
Yes.
I'm buying a driver. I'm buying a driver. I mean, it's cheating at this point with how big they are and how easy they are to hit, and how good, like, you can find a good used one or something that's 2 generations old that's new for a pretty decent price. You don't need to buy the $600 TaylorMade driver that just released. Like, that is going to make no difference to you if you buy one from 2021, and you can find those. So I would buy a driver. And then, man, I don't know what else I would buy.
You going wedge?
I mean, you want me to say putter. You want me to say putter.
I don't want you to say anything.
I think you're leading me down the putter path here. I mean, putters are fun to buy. I haven't really done it in my life. I've bought
it out for both of us.
Been pretty loyal. Yeah, you've bought more than I have, and I've been playing golf for 32 years.
Trivia for later. How many putters have I gone through?
Okay.
later.
You traded them in. I think I would probably buy a putter and buy a cheap wedge. I mean, you can find cheap wedges. Those are easy to find. I mean, I gave you one. I
couldn't hit it. I go driver as well.
I'd buy a mallet putter. I would tell anybody right now, go buy a
Yes.
mallet putter, like some sort of big
I
putter.
bought I bought some of those. I bought some of those. Um, I think my other. I actually think my second club is a wedge.
Yeah,
Buying my Vokey. What kind of wedge was it? My little 75 yarder that I love. It's basically what I hit
56.
everywhere. It
Yeah,
was a
like an
56, right?
SM9. Yeah,
Actually, maybe it was a 50.
4.
I don't. Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyways,
Tongue, you gotta
whatever
reacquaint
that
yourself with your
degree
golf
is.
bag.
I
Yeah,
know. I haven't looked at it in a while. Anyways, I hit that wedge all the time, every hole.
yeah, yeah.
And to
That's
miss the
fair.
green, to miss the green as a new person sucks because that means you're still trying to get on the green.
Yeah. So I would not have would in this situation would I not have a wedge, or I would just have like a
You got to find a wedge that you can hit that you feel good about. That'd make a
yeah,
difference
but I'm
for
not
me
spending a lot of
more
I
than
don't
a
have to
putter.
I could find one, right. I
Yeah,
could find one
and they're
for cheap.
cheaper and they're
Yeah.
pretty cheap. But to
Yeah.
find one that you really like, but the driver is a no-brainer.
Yeah, everyone should have a good driver. Like
All right, so
getting
how
off
many
the
putters
tee.
have I gone through?
6. Have you gone through 6 putters?
1, 2, 3. No, I've had 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah,
So have I.
I've had a terrible one that I had when I was in Boston. It was like from Play It Again Sports.
Yeah.
Um, and then my first real putter was an Odyssey mallet. I kind of wish I'd kept it and not traded it in. And then I went and bought. Oh no, I've had 5. And then I got the Odyssey White Hot OG.
The 2
And then I
ball.
went
That's what.
back. Uh huh. No. Just it was the blade, the White Hot blade.
Oh, okay.
And then I went and traded that
Oh.
in for the TaylorMade Spider.
That's right.
And then I bought the King Answer 2, which is a fatter blade.
Yep.
It's Tony Finau's putter. So I do have a good blade and a good mallet now. But yeah, I've gone through 5 putters. Sorry, 5. Forgot about the White Hot OG.
What brand have you I think this is going to be a quick
Ping.
answer, but you've
Yeah,
gravitated
Ping.
towards Ping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
I don't have Ping irons yet, but I have Callaway irons that I really like. Super forgiving, super fat. But I think once I
PH.
pick up super fat, man, um, I will be a full Ping bag once I start golfing
Guy.
again.
Ping boy. Just be a ping
Yeah,
boy.
love them. Love them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever see that My Golf Spy? They kind of said
Oh
there's
yeah, they're
tons of stuff
pimping
out
out
there,
the
but they're
ping.
Ping all the way. They're like most people would just be better if they just had a Ping driver in their bag.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was the case for me. So,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
There you go. I think that's it, Tongue.
Yeah,
It's
that was
late.
good. Again,
It's late.
I think people who are going to be golfing with newbies perhaps may get more out of this than newbies
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, that's true. Or try to help someone who's new to the game.
Yeah,
We all need reminders. Because some people started the game when they were super young, and it's easy to get either frustrated or tell people what tree to aim at or how many cups outright the putt's going to break. Like all those little things that just become part of the vernacular that a
it's
beginner
so
doesn't
good.
need, and they're swimming in their head. Yeah,
So good.
yeah,
I'm envious of anyone who gets to start their relationship with golf for the first time.
yeah.
It really is like it's like reading Harry Potter for the first time. You'll never have that rush again.
Yeah, and it just forces you to keep chasing it because you can break
It's
100, you can
great.
break 90, you can break 80, you can break 70, whatever.
You could stop
Yeah,
sucking for 3 holes in a row. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. You could just hit one pure long iron or think like I can do this
it's
forever.
such a mean game. I think I told you this last time I played in, I think it was January maybe or February. I started off on just played 9 holes, walked to 9 holes. Hole 1 par 4, par. Hole 2 par 4, par. Hole 3 par 4, par. And I wasn't thinking anything, but I was like, wow, that's never happened before. And I get to hole 4, which is a par 3, 125 yards. Should not be an issue. Shanked the ball so hard. So hard.
Yep,
Double
there it
par.
is.
Hole
Right
5,
back.
par
Right.
4, par.
Yeah,
Right.
right back to it. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the best game.
Yeah.
for that reason.
It's the best. It's the
All right. Well, you
best.
got to make sure you go play a little bit this summer so we can
I got a
maybe
scramble
pod
coming up
about
in
it.
a month.
Okay.
The work scramble. The
So
work
that's locked
scramble.
in. Okay.
It's locked in.
That's
That's
June.
it so far.
Okay. Scrambles. Another good way to get
Love
into
it.
the game. Yeah.
Great way to get in the
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the betting. I just oh my gosh, there's so much.
Yep.
Next time.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, Tung. We'll
Yes.
we'll get you back on this summer. I know people always like to hear you talk about golf as a
And again, if you are interested in a
relatively
Ping
beginner.
425 3 hybrid, I'll get the specs to you later in the show notes. Just
Yeah.
drop Sean a line.
Yeah, I'll have the intern work on that.
Make me a deal. Make me a deal. Make an
All right.
offer.
All right, Tung. Thanks, man.
Take care. Yep.
See ya.